Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks again to all of you. Ms. Fox, I'm as I mentioned during the first round, I wanted to get to WOTUS, and you've answered a lot of WOTUS questions since I've been here, and you've done very well with them. And so I'm just going to add my illustration and ask some pretty simple questions, I think. But you know, last Congress in this committee, we did hold a hearing on the Trump WOTUS rule. One of the witnesses was the North Dakota Commissioner of Agriculture, Doug Goring. And Doug testified, quote, "The most fundamental management practice in agriculture is effective water management, either to retain, conserve, or convey. An overly rigid one-size-fits-all federal intervention and regulatory oversight is not reasonable, not workable, and not appropriate," unquote. Now, Administrator Regan, whose nomination I supported in this committee and on the floor, has said the EPA is going to rewrite the regulation again, but not as the Obama administration did in 2015, and you've echoed that sentiment a couple of times. I like consistency within the administration, Mr. Chairman. North Dakota successfully litigated against the 2015 regulation, which would have laid claim to over 80% of our landmass with its 4,000-foot buffer. In 2006, if we're looking for a definition, I think Justice Scalia got it exactly right in his majority opinion when he set the standard for continuous surface water connection to relatively permanent bodies of water. Now, there's a little vagueness in a few of those words, but nonetheless, I think it's a pretty good starting point. And so with that in mind, I want to refer to this map of North Dakota, and just to help people understand, we literally are, people always, you know, say they're something. We literally are the center of the North American continent. There's a monument in Rugby, North Dakota that says this is the center of the North American continent. We are prairies. We are badlands. Theodore Roosevelt National Park, the only national park named after a person. Place matters, right? This is where his ranches are, right out here in the Badlands. Badlands, limestone, sandstone, cactus, Badlands. This map illustrates what would fall under waters of the U.S. definition, navigable waters. Now, I have a pontoon. I live on a bay of the Missouri River. If I can't drive my pontoon on it, I know it's not navigable, right? But this is a whole bunch of stuff that you couldn't drive a pontoon on. So anyway, obviously, WOTUS is at the heart of agriculture, as you've been hearing from others. It's very near and dear to North Dakotans. We want to get it right. And so I'm just going to ask you some really basic questions. First of all, and I think you've testified to this, but they didn't get it right in 2015. Do you think, did they get it right in 2015?
Senator Cramer, it sounds like, first of all, that Shannon and I need to do a joint trip together so that we can understand the two very visual challenges. So maybe we could do that.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Okay.
The administrator's promised to do it too, but you know, you can either come with him or another time.
You know, Senator Cramer, again, we all want an enduring rule. I think we want an enduring definition that is national, but really can address the particular local circumstances of water. And as we know, water is also changing rapidly, right? With, you know, the Great Lakes are warming, parts of California, Arizona are drying very rapidly, right? And so how do we create a rule that can withstand the test of time and respect the local needs, right? And that is really what Administrator Regan wants. That's what he's directed me to do. That's what I want to do. I want to get it right, and I want to get it right with all of you. And so I hope you will help us with that.
Yeah, you raise a really good point. Both you and the administrator, I think, bring a really valuable experience. He is a state regulator. You as somebody who's been in a regulated industry, although not agriculture, but again, WOTUS clearly important. And that's what gives me hope, as well as your willingness to talk, to collaborate, to communicate. There are lots of C's that work. Carper, Capito, Cardin, Cramer. I mean, there's lots of C words at work.
And Cramer.
And then Cramer, right? So I think I look forward to that. I really do. I'm an eternally optimistic person, Mr. Chairman. And so anyway, you're invited. You're welcome. You can leave the administrator at home or bring him with if you want, but he's coming too at some point. And I do think you raised an important point. In fact, and this would have been relevant to the previous discussion too. The changing of water, that's been going on for centuries, and that's part of why North Dakota farmers didn't drain. They moved with the water. They farmed when it was dry. If it was wet over here, then the next year and it was dry over there, they farmed over here because they valued having that water around them. They were just naturally conservationists, but they reject the notion that the federal government's going to tell them how to do it if not a partner. With that, thank you both.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Chairman.